Hey everybody, and welcome to Schoolism Interviews, mini-series where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host, Bobby Chiu. Victoria Ying is an incredible artist and educator that's worked in children's books, illustration, as well as animated films such as Tangled, Paperman, Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, Big Hero 6, and Moana. She's admired for her visual development art, and we are so honored to have her teach Introduction to Visual Development on schoolism.com. Now, without further ado, here's my interview with the incredible Victoria Ying. Please enjoy. Hi, Victoria. So, in your class, Introduction to Visual Development, there is an entire lesson on set dressing. I know some old students of mine that wouldn't even know what set dressing means. So I thought, let's take this opportunity to kind of expand on that. What is set dressing and why is it important?
Set dressing is actually one of my favorite things to do in visual development. Basically, what it is you get a space. Usually, it's like a character space, like someone's bedroom or kitchen, or like in the case of Big Hero 6, we did the set dressing for the cafe. And the reason I love doing it is because there's so much storytelling to be done in set dressing, right? If you're doing a character space like a bedroom, then you really get to explore who this character is based on how they arrange their stuff and what are their things, right? You don't necessarily have to design every single little thing when you're set dressing, but it does help you kind of understand who this character is and what their lives are like. I always think that really successful films are the ones that make you feel like this character doesn't just exist for this film, but they exist outside of it, that they continue to live after the movie's over, and they have lived in the time before the movie starts. And in order to like get that feeling of authenticity, of that like realness, you kind of need to be able to make their space feel like it's lived in, like they are actual people and they're not just props. So that's why I really love set dressing. And I also feel like there's so much opportunity to like throw in quirky personality things that you might not be able to get in a character design, or maybe it's not explored in the film, but you still like are able to put that in and make it feel like, oh, this person has like, I don't know, like a passion for knitting, and it's not like a thing that's explored, but it's something that like, well, in their character you find like, yeah, I think that they would, because maybe they're a big tough guy, but they also really like are caring and they care for their friends, and that's the one way for them to show that. So that's another reason why I love set dressing, because you can really go deep and explore characters and personality. Um, and the other thing I really love about it is the storytelling aspect, right? So like clearly there's the character storytelling aspect, but there's also like, what is this place supposed to mean to these people, and where is that in the story? So if you want to do something that's very severe and extreme, and maybe it's not so much about like, oh, who is this person who lives here, it's much more about like this feeling of like coldness or emptiness. Like that's another really cool way to use set dressing. Like if everything on the character's desk is really at straight right angles, like that tells you something about that person and that moment in the story.
Now, when I think of good set dressing, just off the top of my head, I start to think about like Harry Potter or The Incredibles. What would be kind of like your, doesn't have to be the best one, but a really good example of really great set dressing, and why to you was that so awesome?
Oh man, I mean, you mentioned Harry Potter, and I can't stop thinking about it because it's so good. I went to London and I saw the studio tour, and it's like when you look at the borough, which is where the Weasleys live, it's just so cool because there's all these little details about this family, right? Like who they are and what that means, as like what does home mean and
For
what does that home
example,
mean for Harry? Hmm?
for example,
Um, so the kitchen is like a setup that they have there, and like just the way that the house is, like the room itself is also designed in this way that makes it feel very like ramshackle and like very like put together randomly. Like none of the silverware matches, and all the chairs are mismatched and different, and the like roof lines kind of coming in. So it's like that this place isn't like super organized, super tidy, but it's very loving and very cozy and very homey. So like I love that about that set, especially because like those characters are also different. Like all the Weasleys have their own personalities, and that feels like it's reflected in this space.
wonderful. Thank you very much, Victoria. If you're interested in knowing more about Victoria Ying's class, Introduction to Visual Development, visit schoolism.com.